So it is absolutely necessary to have a common approach. Digital economy, transport, construction, environmental policy, regional policies, infrastructure, industrial strategy, single market, and of course energy three times. They must all be designed in a way that helps us meet our sustainable energy aims and our European Green Deal and independence as well as European Union. The European Commission will soon make proposal on how digitalization, for example, of the energy sector is one part, but very, very important, of crucial importance, can help us advance more swiftly our transition. So, what about our achievements in our country on this way, on the national level? I know that national level is very close to European level or world level, of course, but we got our speaker, who is graduate of Jagiellonia University, also Freiburg University and Business School in Barcelona, lecturer in some universities in South Poland, Jagiellonian University, Academy of Józef Tischner in Krakow, High School of Business in Nowy Sącz, 2015-2019 Deputy Minister in Polish government, author of the Breakthrough Regulation on Implementation of the Research Results and of Functioning of Research Institutes. New concept, we may say. So we are very, very keen of hearing how it works, as a matter of fact. And I would like to ask to deliver the speech Dr. Piotr Dardziński. The floor is yours.
I choose this one.
It's even my pen.
Thank you very much, Madam Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Prime Minister, dear rectors, professors, students. I'm proud to be today with you, and I'm very happy that I can say a few words about the Łukasiewicz Research Network. We are quite new organization, but with a very big experience, because we are 3 years old, but the oldest institute in our network is more than 100 old. So, and we are the part of the reform in Poland, but the goal of this reform was to increase not only the innovation in Poland, but to be an active actor in the innovation field in Europe, because we want to be, as a Europe, we want to be a global leader in the innovation, as Madam Commissioner said. Okay, and I started with a few words about the context, because, as I said, we are not only one reform in the innovation system in Poland, and there are some good news. The first one is that in the last 5 years, as you see, the spending on R&D projects increased in Poland of 40%. And that decrease from the beginning on to 26, but the last 3 years are much more effective in this context. Why it's happened? Because we started in 2016 with the strategy of the responsible development, and the part of this strategy was to develop the tax reliefs. And the tax reliefs helps the companies to spend the money to R&D and to pay less taxes. So on this way we can find more money on the market on R&D projects. But if you have the money, it's not only one thing that you need to develop the innovation. In the innovation, of course, the most important thing, they are people. So we developed the program of the industrial PhD, and now in Poland we have more than 2,000 students. They make the science, they are making the research in the companies, and then they can be the scientists with the PhD title. And it's very, very interesting because we use the experience from the European colleagues, but we made this of the better way, and therefore it is so successful that we have the students, we have the 6 students from Germany, they are working in the German companies, and they are German, and they are studying on the Polish universities in Krakow. And then, if you have money, if you have people, but you are a small company, you need the institution with you, which will help you to develop the R&D projects. And so this is Łukasiewicz Research Network. We are quite good, quite big organization. We started work with our patron, Ignacy Łukasiewicz. He was a little bit crazy man. He was the scientist, but not formal scientist. He was very, very successful entrepreneur, and he was the leader in the charity too. He founded the first schools for the girls in the Galicia. And we want to be like the Łukasiewicz, so we want to be in the field of the innovation, we want to be entrepreneurs, and we want to be in the social way very good oriented. And Łukasiewicz is quite good organization. So the small company can use a big number of the scientists. We have more than 4,000 scientists in the different fields. And we have a lot of infrastructure and equipment. So we build the groups, the research teams to help the companies to develop technology. How it works? We developed the Łukasiewicz Challenge. This is the system that we started in 2019. And for example, there is a company which have a problem, a technological problem. They can come to us, like Bosch. Bosch come to us and ask us to help them to develop the technology. So it was in 31st of August. They come to us in this year. We send the message to all our scientists, and then we collect the proposals of the losing of this problem. We are doing this very quickly. This is very important. We have to be agile, and we have to be quick. And then we correct these proposals on internal meetings, and then we propose the external meetings to the companies, and 5 institutes started to this cooperation with Bosch in one project. So you don't need to go to every one single institute in the Łukasiewicz Research Network or in other institutes. You have one window to opportunity. You go to the Łukasiewicz Center, and then you have everything what we have in our network. And then we have the external meetings with the company, and in October we signed the contract on the R&D project with Bosch. And this is not only one situation when we did this, because the scale of the questions and challenges that we have in the Łukasiewicz the last 3 years, it's quite big. So we have more than 1,800 challenges that the companies sent to us, and it was quite 800 companies they asked us. Not only companies from Poland, but from abroad too. They asked us not only for the R&D projects, they need sometimes the help to make the services, or they want to buy the products they are already ready. And then we propose every time in 50 days, we propose a team, we propose the preliminary schedule, we propose the budget, and we propose the infrastructure. And it works very, very good. And how it helps to us to develop the innovation. So we have 26 institutes around Poland, and we have 4 main research areas, and this is the sustainable economy and energy, and this is our biggest research group. Then we have the digital transformation group, smart and clean mobility, and the health is our smallest research group. Now a few words about the horizon. And we have in Poland a little bit problem with horizon, especially with Horizon 2020, because we give to this program more than we receive from this program. This is not, of course, not the best situation. We want to change this situation in Horizon Europe. It's much more better organized, and the widening system is very, very efficient for us. So we started, and as you see, we are on the 2nd position in the statistics of the Horizon 2020, and the goal is to triple the number of projects and amount of projects in Horizon Europe. And I think that we will do this because we have strong cooperation with our international partners. And as you see, there is only one. Yeah, it was before the Łukasiewicz, all our institutes, they have only one EIT cooperation with the EIT community. But now the situation is much better. In 3 years, we rebuilt the international network with the European Union, and we are in 5 EIT communities. We are now started with the cooperation with 2 others, and we are in 10 partnerships. We started cooperation with 5 partnerships, and the goal is to be in 15, 20 partnerships, and I think it's not something that is impossible in Łukasiewicz. And they are the partnerships, they are connected with energy, of course, too, because this is our strongest research group. The biggest partners, we have a big network in European Union, but the biggest partners, there is the institutions as companies and RTOs from Germany, Spain, France, and Italy. But we want to be more diversified. We want to have more partners and to be more flexible, especially in the central and in the central Europe. They are the partners. They help us, or we have in the consortia in European Horizon Europe. As you see, there are big companies and very strong institutes, universities, and RTOs. And we are helping the companies to be active in Horizon Europe calls, because since 2020, 6 or 7 of our institutes, they are the contact points for the Polish companies to make stronger cooperation between the companies and the science institutions, not only in Poland, but in foreign institutions too. So we are working not only for the network inside, but we are working for the companies and universities and institutes outside the Łukasiewicz Research Network. This is our aim that we and our task that we have from the Ministry of Education and Science. And at the end, we are doing this together with the Commission, European Commission, because before the Łukasiewicz, we started with the PSF instrument, and together with colleagues from VTT, from Finnish network, we prepared these reforms. So Łukasiewicz is partly a child from the European Commission too, and we are very happy that we can do this. And now we just finished the 2nd project from the PSF. We are very happy and we are very proud this is a single strategy of knowledge transfer. But we not only use the European Commission to use the experience of our colleagues from the European Union, we now help on the colleagues in the European Union too, because the World Bank asked us to be a partner in PSF project that they have with the Romanian Ministry of Innovation, because as I know, in the Romania they try to do the reform of the research institutes too, and they want to use the experience from Poland because we are a little bit more in the same situation as Romanian if we do this with another institutes. So this is easier to say how is the situation in Poland and Romania, or how is the situation, the differences between the Poland and for example, Germany and Fraunhofer networks. So it's not so easy to use the experience from Fraunhofer on VTT in Poland. It's easier to use the Polish experiences in Romanian, I think so. And the colleagues from the World Bank will agree with this. So I think that the Łukasiewicz is a really very useful tools to use the agenda of the innovation European level. And we want to do this, and we want to do this together with our colleagues from another countries. The network, it means in Łukasiewicz not only the network inside the Łukasiewicz, but it means the network in whole Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Dear friends, well, I would like to ask for speakers. To all of you, dear speakers, if you are ready to comment any speech or put a question, please do that. And I would like to propose 1 minute speeches for you as additional speeches. 1 minute is just it, because it will be very interesting. For the beginning, I would like to ask both of you, Madam Commissioner and Mr. President of each committee, well, it would be a very important question. How do you see the possibility to use the concept of internal national networking in our maybe main idea for today, widening the participation, such a national network? Madam Commissioner. Okay.
Thank you very much for the question. Well, I have a question. Are you a member of COST Association? That's a very good step, because you know that's our organization for helping to link the different research innovation networks. They have 400 million euros as a budget. That's more than 50% of increase. And recently we have studies showing that if you are a member of COST Association, you have 4 to 5 times more chances to be successful in Horizon Europe program. So that will be my first message. The second, it's very good that now you have so strong partnership with the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Just really to bring the attention, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology is the largest innovation ecosystem in Europe. More than 3,000 partners working together. What is particular, and there is a difference with the European Innovation Council, is the EIT. That means decentralized approach, so to take into consideration the specificities of different regions and localities, and for me it's an important point. We don't have one-size-fits-all approach, in innovation especially, and at the same time, since the very beginning, to unite this knowledge triangle, research, innovation and education. And here it's very good that you have this practice. My next question is, what's about your link, your partnership with the European Innovation Council? Because it's very good to support startups, companies with industry and research, but the European Innovation Council, for me, it's supposed to be the next step. EIT is identifying good, promising companies. That's your case, EIT Digital, Climate, the different kicks. But with EIC, we can do more, we can scale, we can show that we have European champions in research and innovation. And that means for me that EIC Forum, it's one of the next steps, and the EIT Summit, 7th and 8th of December, we'll be very glad to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is very dangerous, Madam Commissioner, to ask you any question. Fortunately, you are not in, fortunately, we are not in European Parliament. Mr. Chairman.
Also in the European Parliament, we are very keen and interested to hear Maria Gabriel, and because she knows a lot and she has a lot to say. Well, I will be brief. As Chairman Buzek is asking, first of all, I appreciate a lot this initiative. It is extraordinary to have 26 institutes across the country putting together resources and expertise. Answering to President Buzek's question, I believe we could expand this model to other Central and East European countries. I'm not aware about other networks of this importance and with such a success. Clearly, the link, the synergies with AIT and the participation in different European initiatives are extremely important. I saw you in many partnerships, hydrogen batteries and clean aviation, everything that is important now for European Union. So yes, if we expand this, if other Central and East European countries will be inspired by Łukasiewicz initiatives, I think it is an ingredient to be more successful in Horizon Europe.
Next topic on the table will be technical universities as facilitators of innovation as ecosystem. Let me add at the beginning very shortly, our transformation will impact every aspect of our everyday lives. Education systems, academia, regulatory frameworks, economy, finance and management, public administration, of course, technology, but also culture, social relations, the environment that surrounds us, global processes, everything. So, humanities, as a matter of fact, should be as important as technological sciences. It is very important. And we should remember that. Without very strong humanities, all such a discipline, we cannot go forward. But today, we discuss, first of all, technological issues, technical issues, very important. I would like to invite you to a next speaker performance. Graduate of Poznan University of Technology, since 2013 professor of chemical sciences, number of activities in Polish universities and ministers, being responsible for research infrastructure, more or less 6 years ago, enormous big infrastructure, Vice Dean, Dean and Rector of Poznan University of Technology, very much managed in the activity of Polish Academy of Sciences that was presented at the beginning of our meeting. So, Professor Teofil Jesionowski, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, distinguished guest, Madam Commissioner Maria Gabriel. It is a privilege to show some aspect about technical issue and technical aspect regarding our life, but we are familiar with human being aspect, and of course we are also familiar with mathematicians. So please switch on my presentation if it's possible, okay? So I prepare, let me say, a big presentation because one of a supervisor of my PhD came from this famous university. So I try to, let me say, show you some aspect about the influence of the technical aspect, technical university as a, let me say, platform for innovation of our ecosystem, of our life. So agenda about our presentation is focused on our DNA. After that, I will establish some regarding our institution, and after that, I will be familiar with the university initiative. It's mean European University, which is one of the best initiatives among others, and some challenges and summarize. So now we are focused on 1.2 million students, and of course we have about 85,000 foreigner students. It's not so big population, but of course 350 higher education institutions. So our potential seems to be very, very high as a Polish, let me say, level. So the institution which is very important is the Conference of Rectors of Academic School in Poland, because it is represented our community, of course. It is headed by Professor Arkadiusz Mężyk from Silesian University of Technology. So it was established in 1997, and of course we are composed from 109 members, including 10 non-public schools, and of course 8 associated members. Of course, this conference is responsible for some resolutions, some law agreements between our ministry, our society, including networking and so on. And focus on Conference of Rectors of Technical University, were composed from 33 universities and 22 members as a technical university and 11 associated university. Here you can see the map of our technical university located in our beautiful country. Of course, we cover technical aspect, military aspect, and of course some life sciences and medical aspect and so on. Of course, we are associated as a CRASP with the European University Association, and also we are associated with the Conference of Rectors and Presidents of European University. But the most important figure are that we are representing as a 300,000 of students. So it is extremely huge potential, because the, let me say, future belongs to our students, to our PhD students. About 7,700 PhD students and many, many of employees which are involved in teaching, in, let me say, research, and in administration and technical aspect. Or of course, Conference of Rectors supports CRASP and supports our institution due to development of technical education and technical aspect of our. And focus of our potential, thanks to the colleagues from Elsevier, I would like to show you our potential impact of scientific publication in comparison to the Visegrad Group and in comparison to the Europe. So at the beginning of access to the European Union, our potential is growing up, but of course the number is not so important. The science and of course level of our impact. And if we consider impact of the engineering and technologies, of course we reach about 20,000 papers, of course, in the period of 5 years, so it's quite good number. But if we compare our potential with some other countries like UK, Germany, France, and so on, so the scholarity impact is higher in comparison to our, and of course the scholarity output. Of course, the weakness is that we publish a lot of documents, but we have to focus about good papers which are, let me say, cited, which have direct impact of development of science. Not number is important, but the excellence research is extremely important. I'm pretty sure that Professor Jerzy will explain in detail some more details, of course. But it is pity that we are on development, but we have to improve our impact, including also engineering, technological aspect. It's the same results as you can see on the side. but our, let me say, ministry, and of course we introduce new state scientific policy. It is, let me say, it is focused on support of science. It is concentrate of the improving of high quality of education and of course the quality of the transform of knowledge to the market, to the economy. Of course, we know about some weaknesses, but let me emphasize the optimal use of the potential of Polish science and higher education. So we have prioritized our aspect. We have not concentrated on all aspects of science, but we have selected the most important. Of course, continuous improvement of quality of the education of research is extremely important, and the transform of knowledge and technology between science and industry is also our weakness. Sorry that it will be diagnosis, but of course I have to be fair against such brilliant audience. And of course, what are notice as what are the challenges. The first is the low social trust as a result, and of course the, let me say, researchers are not familiar with the ecosystem, with the nations. Of course, the relatively low level of, let me say, financial support, including especially research and development aspect. Cooperation between the system of higher education, institution and science with the socioeconomic environment. And of course, relatively low research commercialization. So we have to improve this because our potential of our country is pretty high, but we have to find some solution. And of course, we have to also increase the potential with the European Union. So what is the main issue from my point of view? First of all, we have to construct, design the structure of the system, because our system is extremely dispersed, as Dr. Dardziński mentioned. So the consolidation, some federalization, and of course, the increasing of the potential is important. And the second one is that the Polish system have to focus on some brilliant research university. So they provide initiative of excellence. It names Research University. So now we have only 4, let me say, excellent in research university as a tech university, including Gdańsk University of Technology, Warsaw University, Silesian University, and AGH University of Science and Technology. So I'm sure that R&D&I is, let me say, focused that the Wrocław and Poznan will be also, let me say, located in the map in the next meeting. But of course, we are waiting for this due to excellence in science. What is the academic university tweet? So that we have to, let me say, balance the teaching and the research meeting, and we have to, let me say, support also regional institution as a regional initiative of excellence. And if we compare our reputation, of course, with other university, I'm lucky that the potential of our university is growing up. So based on the time higher education work university ranking, we notice the increase of the impact of Polish university. So I hope that, let me say, this potential will be grow in near future rapidly. And what is the strategy? So improving the quality of research and innovation must be the primary goal of the government, of the institution operating for the sector, and also research institution, university, and of course, politicians among European, and of course, especially at our government. So how it is the, let me say, issue? The first is that we have to increase international research cooperation due to including some European project, and of course, due to mobility of students, mobility of staff, mobility of PhD students, and of course, internationalization of academic community. So it is pity that our potential is low in comparison to the other country, and of course, we have big support, including Erasmus Plus project. And of course, the most important is to create new modern infrastructure, special infrastructure, and of course we are familiar with the other, let me say, university, other institution infrastructure, but we have to create new modern infrastructure. And we have to forget about human authors, because our students, our PhD students, are extremely good, extremely, let me say, brilliant, and of course, open-minded person. And of course, when we cover with research infrastructure, we will win. And cooperation with the environmental is very, very important to be familiar with some kind of, let me say, companies, about some local governments, institutions, and so on. We are supported by many, many institutions, including, of course, the European Research Council, including Horizon 2020, nowadays Horizon Europe, Erasmus+, and Polish institutions, including Polish National Agency for Academic Exchange, National Science Center. Madam Gabriel mentioned about Marie Curie Action, and let me also mention about Fulbright Foundation, Humboldt Foundation. So we have to, let me say, put huge attention about this, and of course, let me mention about NATO support and also European Space Agency. And the synergy of the research and education with the European Union is that the most important is education, health, and safety. So it's very, very important. So the European Union established the European education area, European higher education area, and also the European research area that can be involved. So the most important is European university, that we reach this university, of course, due to very, very unique, spectacular system. Let me mention that 16 Polish universities are involved in this system, so we are really proud that this system can be realized at our university. And now, let me mention about the UNIS project that the Poznan University of Technology is leader, only one leader in Poland, and only one leader in the, let me say, Eastern Europe. Of course, we are composed from the 10 countries, and we are focused on the customized education, so we are familiar with the, let me say, environment society. And we create some innovation and application platform with 200+ companies, so it is very important that our student, our postdoc, has, let me say, have direct access to the scholarship, to the practice, to the dual study. And another university, of course, is also established at the Krakow University of Science Technology, is focused of, let me say, space. So it is very, very important. So it is also another focus that we have to develop. And very, very important is the Horizon Europe will cover very, very important issue, including some kind innovation, digitalization, and Green Deal, of course. I will switch up, but Gabriel mentioned about some 5 main areas. So let me mention about the cancer. So we have to change our climate, and we have to think about our materials and soil, our earth, because when we forget about this, we can also lose. We can also destroy the Africa, and we can also destroy the Latin America. So here you can see a lot of issues that we have to develop, and of course we have good potential due to ecosystem, and of course focus on digitalization. Of course we have to think about new era industry, let me say 4.0, 5.0 industry on future, but we have to forget about some kind of adults, as I am, because when I'm talking with my son, so I have a lot of weaknesses regarding digital transformation and IT, of course. So we have to think about the people which have some disabilities in this, of course, aspect. And we have some solution. So it is Research European University. So I hope that is very, very important. So I will switch, let me say, some example of our achievement, but at the end of this, let me explain a few words about challenges. It is very important. So let me consider that we have to expand scientific activity among European university, including research university. We have to develop scientific roadmap based on European university. And we have to support, of course, our young generation, including, of course, Erasmus+ as a daily rate, because it is very, very low due to, let me say, rising of prices. And, of course, the PhD student must be involved. So I will share with this presentation, of course, and let me summarize that the strong Europe needs well-educated young elite to build a competitive and innovative economy. And of course, Poland needs the European community for development in accordance of the freedom and respect for all rights and obligations of every European citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Rector. Well, thank you once again. Mr. Professor Teofil Jesionowski, as a chairman of the Conference of Rectors of Polish Technical Universities, was, of course, the most dedicated person to answer such questions. And next topic, on the last topic, but the next topic will be National Center for Research and Development in the new financial perspective. So, generally speaking, way of financing. Let me say at the beginning few words, because if we would like manage our future, speedy and wide access to current technological and economic data is essential to successful and effective digital and energy transformation. If we want our cities to be sustainable, also our industry, small and medium business, agriculture, low emission, it is not enough to have modern infrastructure. Access to data, very important. The 5G generation of ICT networks allows for the transmission and reception of all kinds of data at high speed. And, of course, semiconductors are the core part of modern industries. We've got some problems with that and start as European Union a big program to improve the situation. I am mentioning Digital Europe because our next speaker has got long-term experience in telecommunication, generally speaking, and all the services. He was also a counselor, also very active in financing, negotiations expert, graduate and doctorate of Zurich University. Mr. Paweł Kuch, Dr. Paweł Kuch, from National Director of the National Center for Research and Development. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr.
Doesn't work? Maybe was it? Try one.
Give me a second. Yeah. Mr. President, Madam Commissioner, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here with you today at the Central European Technology Forum. The institution which I am honored to lead is the biggest of this kind in the region. The National Center for Research and Development transfers billions złotych to the R&I sector each year. We celebrate now the 15 years of our operations. Through that time, we managed to establish strong links with EU and abroad. From 2011, we are an intermediary institution for many programs implemented with European funds, European Regional Development Fund and European Social Fund. International cooperation has been a significant statutory activity of NCBR since its inception in 2007 and has been carried out on both bilateral and multilateral levels ever since. Our activity in that field includes supporting Horizon Europe partnerships with Polish participation, the same with teaming with excellence. NCBR coordinates a significant number of European partnerships under Horizon Europe, as illustrated by the examples. What makes us really proud is recent increase in the number of proposals above the threshold, from 14% to almost 40%. This is the change we were looking for. It shows clearly that our R&I sector is already well connected inside the EU. Obviously, the merger of the national contact point for Horizon with NCBR, which took place in 2020, helps to achieve it. Now it provides support for Polish research institutions and companies willing to participate in Horizon Europe calls for proposals even better, as data shows. What's more, we established our office in Brussels, where NCBR is a strategic partner of the Employers Association Business Science Poland, looks after the appropriate representation of the interest of the Polish scientific and innovative community. NCBR participates in consultations, meetings, expert groups, and other events related to EU research and innovation policy. We are all aware of how important solidarity is. We in Poland prove not in words, but in deeds, by the very meaning of this word. The recent events in countries east of Poland have triggered response to assist researchers and scientists in both Ukraine and Belarus. NCBR plays an active part there. We cooperate with National Research Foundation of Ukraine and support Ukrainian researchers under the Applied Research Program, Norway Funds. For Belarusian scientists, we offer financing of their projects in Polish research institutions. In that case, we cooperate with the National Agency for Academic Exchange. We wish to fulfill our role as an intermediary institution for European funds for a modern economy program, FENG, successor of the Smart Growth Program, in the near future. The FENG will support, among others, research, implementation of innovations, use of advanced technologies, growth of competitiveness of Polish SMEs, and industrial transformation and entrepreneurship. The European funds for a modern economy will be available to entrepreneurs and companies, institutions from the scientific sector, consortia of companies, innovation centers, and financial institutions. FENG will have an impact on increasing the productivity of the economy by creating a strong incentive for companies to engage in R&I. The support will be provided both to those already active in innovation and to companies that are new or inactive in R&I sector. Further, FENG will support developing entrepreneurial competencies in the areas of smart specializations, innovative business models, technology transfer, and innovation management, strengthening the potential of clusters, research organizations, and innovations hub. We are prepared to develop and strengthen the research and innovation capabilities of enterprises. The goal is to increase the degree of adaptation and enterprises' activities to help them face the challenges of the modern economy indicated in the European Green Deal through investments in the area of digitalization and greening activities. We will support a lot of new projects, like, for example, CETEF'22, an intelligent stethoscope for parents of children with pneumonia or bronchitis. We co-finance it with funds from the predecessor Smart Growth Program. Life of these families using Start Home became easier and calmer just because they can detect abnormal sounds in their child's respiratory systems by themselves. FENG's projects will consist of 7 modules. Comprehensive projects respond to the needs of entrepreneurs in terms of R&D work, implementation of innovation, development of R&I infrastructure, internationalization, the development of the skills of the company's employees and managers, digitalization of businesses, greening of the companies. The scope of project will be defined by an applicant according to the needs identified. In the case of SME, projects must include one of 2 modules, R&I or implementation of innovation. In the case of large enterprises, projects must include R&I module. The remaining modules will remain optional. Moreover, the NCBR will support and cover the best projects and initiatives selected at the European Union level. The National Centre for Research and Development will announce call for proposals under the following instruments. The objective of joint research ventures to direct the activity of applicants to the implementation of R&I works on technological solutions. The Seal of Excellence to finance research and development projects which have been awarded the Seal of Excellence certificate under the European Innovation Council. Important project of common European interest, IPCEI, complementary and necessary to achieve the common European objectives. Project will be financed by FENC to the extent that they fall within the scope of the program. Another one, the Bridge Up, is to support R&I projects implemented by newly established technology companies. Testing and experimentation facilities artificial intelligence aims to allow entrepreneurs to experiment, test, and validate AI solutions in both virtual and real-world environments. In addition, NCBR will support actions targeting small and medium enterprises that do not have experience in implementing EU-funded R&I projects under the InnoStrat project. In innovation public procurement, an important role is played by the interventions of public institutions based on pool innovations. Programs based on this new formula have a specific challenge that cannot be solved with the availability tools and resources. Shifting to the European Fund for Social Development, FAIRS, we are expecting it to be approved in December 2022. Under FAIRS, NCBR support will focus on adjusting the offer of entities of the higher education system to the needs of economic development and green and digital transformation. Developing universities offer in the field of adult learning, providing people from disadvantaged groups with the opportunity of the higher education. And the first calls for the universities are expected in the first and second quarter 2023. I would like to talk about the innovation public procurement instrument that I think you will find interesting. We are ready to answer to the most demanding challenges facing us all. Based on our own method, already awarded by the European Innovation Procurement Award, we are aiming to produce technologies helping with transformation of the energy sector, transformation of agriculture, transport, wave of bulging renovation technologies, demographic problems, education systems. The Polish economy is facing particularly difficult challenges. Meeting the goals requires solutions that can only be achieved by providing the Polish economy with new technologies. The transformation we are facing is demanding. This change must be controlled because the market and market mechanisms will not perform the transformations themselves, or they will not perform it optimally. This is why the role of public institutions, such as NCBR, is so important. One of the tools for such a change is the pre-commercial order, placing an order on the market for the delivery, execution of a technology that is not yet available or is poorly developed. From the new financial perspective, the European Funds for the Modern Economy, FENC, and the NCBR is preparing a number of projects that will set the direction of development for the Polish economy. The goal will be achieved by combining the need for transformation of the economy with its development. It will be a series of projects in key sectors for Poland: the energy sector, agriculture and forestry, construction, waste management, and biogas. The following two present examples of projects considered to be launched by the NCBR should emphasize that this is a project proposal that will still be discussed with the market. Therefore, this is not a list of projects approved for launch yet, but only an example of what the NCBR is currently working on. New heat pumps technologies produced as an open model. NCBR plans to commission the development of innovative heat pump technology for domestic applications for new and existing houses. The NCBR intends to make the development production technology available to all producers of the Polish market without any license fees. Currently, Polish producers of heat pumps are losing their distance to the world-class brands whose production scale reaches several 100,000 per year. Distributed heating system for the cities. Today, municipal heating plants provide heat to 42% of the Polish population. But this number will drop because many consumers will disconnect from municipal heating plants. Transporting heat over many kilometers is not profitable. The project is to develop a different model of offering that heat services by municipal heating plants in such a way that the heat is generated and the recipient's place is not transported. Biogas ecosystem for agricultural machinery. Agricultural biogas can be good fuel for agricultural machinery and replace fossil fuels, which are eliminated from the world economy due to harmful effects on the Earth climate. The aim of the project is to build a local ecosystem for the production of ecological fuels for agriculture from locally produced agricultural waste. Farmers give away agricultural waste and receive ecological fuels in return. Another example touches problems regarding technology for cleaning biogas to biomethane. Poland lacks good and cheap technology to purify biogas to biomethane and CO2. The project is to enable the preparation of such technologies. Industrial plants, hemp, hygiene products, diapers, etc., insulation materials, upholstery, fabrics, paper, cosmetics, food. Technology used in agriculture will face dynamic transformation in years ahead. Cutting CO2 emissions and becoming more eco-friendly in general is challenging for that sector. At the same time, we witness the development of industrialized agriculture and plant production for new kinds of usage like material production. Emission-free agricultural machinery. That project includes creating new agri-technologies which work together greenhouse gas emissions and without burning fossil fuels. These machines should be powered by biomethane, hydrogen, or electric batteries. Machines of this type can become a Polish export product. Building materials of wood waste management other than as fuel. The goal of that project is the creation of high-margin wood products such as building materials, insulation materials, and others. Poland is a large producer of wood, but it is not processed into high-margin products. The project is supposed to change that. In the future, wood-based products will be in great demand in many industries, including construction, due to their zero carbon footprint. And the last but not least, innovative factories for innovative products. Innovative products require innovative factories in line with the concept of Industry 4.0, producing based of noxiousness for the environment based on energy from renewable resources without the production of waste. Projects of such factories are to be a result of this program. In conclusion, in order for Europe to deliver on its promises and very ambitious goals, Poland has to be part of the equation. We absolutely need to bring everyone on board. And on behalf of Poland's R&I community, I am here to underline our readiness to contribute our share. That is what we are doing at the NCBR and other Polish funding agencies domestically. We are reaching out and deep to best fulfill our mission, which is to support the development of innovation in Poland and to bring science and business together, in particular by funding R&I projects. European programs are key to success. NCBR leads a national effort to engage Polish stakeholders. Once more, I would like to thank you all for the invitation and your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Director. Very broad and clear representation of NCBR. We are just losing our coffee break, probably not first time in our lives. If I may, for the end of our discussion, put a very short question to our guests from abroad. Very short. Please answer very, very shortly. if you want to survive with our coffee break. So it depends on you. But question is very important, I think. Short, medium, long-term answers to aggressive Russia from the point of view of R&D and innovation sector. Are there any answers, Madam Commissioner?
Thank you. Well, first on short and medium term, full support with the Erasmus Plus program. We offered a full flexibility for all our universities wishing to welcome students from Ukraine. Second, in the month of June, Ukraine was fully associated to Horizon Europe program. And only 10 days after, we started a new project with the European Innovation Council, 20 million euros to fund startups from Ukraine. And my ambition is, of course, now after the selection of the process in September, to have the first projects at the end of the year. I would like just to mention here that we need to continue to support them because 70% of the Ukrainian startups stay in the country and they are operational. Unbelievable resilience. So now the long term, it's really to integrate them in the pan-European innovation ecosystem, to nurture the talents, and of course, to help the country to modernize the research system. And the very, very long term, it will be the reconstruction of the country with all these talented researchers, universities, and innovators. And I can only reassure you on our full support. You can see, President, I didn't lose all my reflexes from the European Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in addition on what Commissioner Maria Gabriel mentioned on the research area, of course, in energy, we need innovation in order to be fully independent from Russia. So in order to implement REPowerEU, to gain our independence, to reduce to zero the imports from Russia, we need innovation for hydrogen, for the renewables, also for energy efficiency, because the essence of REPowerEU is not only to replace Russia with other more reliable and like-minded partners to import gas, but to reduce the consumption of gas and to invest in renewables, reaching also our climate goals. And of course, innovation will be extremely important in the defense area. We have the European Defense Fund. Their innovation will bring us solutions to be better prepared in the future. Now, European Commission launched the EDIRPA, the joint procurement initiative of 500 million euros, and will prepare more common initiatives in the defense area. And also there, the innovative solutions are key and will bring us more resilience and better capabilities to protect our democracies against illegal and criminal actions like Russian ones.
Great answers. Great answers. Thank you very, very much. And I would like to invite Mr. Arkadiusz, well, dear friend of us. Thank you very much for the invitation. And now, please close the session. It is nice to ask you for that. Of course, you can speak as long as you wish, of course, because you are the rector of the Wrocław University of Technology. Thank you very, very much for invitation. It's absolutely great. Thank you.
Let's thank Mr. Chairman and all distinguished speakers of the first plenary session. So the background and the themes for this Congress have been set, have been placed again against the broader background that was discussed in all 5 presentations, 5 speeches. I appreciate that very much. Now, because of small misfortune, the host of the city, the Vice Mayor, Jakub Mazur, has not been here during the official presentation, so now I will ask him to say hello from the city, from the true host of this event. And then coffee.
Good morning, everyone. I promise it won't be long because, you know, coffee is saint and we all wish to have a cup in our hands, but thank you very much for organizing here in Wrocław. You know, we are very proud to be a city of innovation, and we certainly do understand your challenge and call to action, Madam Commissioner. You have challenged us, and we will provide the solutions. Thank you very much.
And of course, at least one speech infused us with so much energy, purpose, and optimism that it's both probably important, it's very important for our university and the city, and I hope for all the audience. So thank you again for so much energy, so much optimism, and so much purpose for the future time before the next time we meet here. The session is closed. Coffee.